Hi, everyone. Welcome to Lectora Live. This is going to be your inside track into Lectora. We are live right now for real. So now, for a year we've had the show called it Lectora Live, but we were not streaming live. In the last, probably 4 or 5 shows, we have started streaming live on YouTube. So you're watching us on YouTube, live stream. Right next to me is Scott Barnett. He is the VP of Marketing with Trivantis, and we are going to start the show recording real shortly. All shots are looking good?
Yep.
Clark is running the, I was going to say the different machine.
Yeah.
He is running, hello, he's running the vMix software right now, and we just reorganized our studio, so it's we're actually inverted from what we used to be. We have different lights on us. I think we like the look. It's not too bad. Let us know what you think. If you like the way we look, don't judge us by the way we look, and we want to scare people, but judge us by the way we are lit. How's that? Anyway, so shall we start the show recording?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to start the show recording in 3, 2, and 1. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Lectora Live, your inside track into Lectora. I'm Rick Zanani, and I'm joined today by Scott Barnett. He is the VP of Marketing with Trivantis. But first, our intro. We are back. Scott, how are you today?
I'm good. Look, we're shaking hands and it looks
We're
really
live. We're actually live. See, you thought this was a magic trick, didn't you? So how are you today?
I'm doing great, thanks. It's really fun to be in the studio, I have to say. It's great coming down here at Camarillo and seeing you
Good.
guys live.
I'm glad you enjoy it. It's always fun to have people here, too, because most of what we do is all on Skype. It's all recorded or broadcast live, but we rarely have somebody in-house, so it's fun when people do come out. And you've just recuperated. You've come out of the hospital. You're good. The Lectora 2016 user conference is done. It's a lot of work, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a fair amount of work, although I had a lot of great people around me making it easier than it should have been.
You had the queen of all things.
I had the queen of all things. I had Stephanie Ivek, who was the queen of everything, as we called her at the end of the show.
She's got everything going for her. She's attractive. She's smart. She's tough.
She's very tough, and she's very funny.
Yeah, and she is. She is. She's good. In fact, if you want to go see some of the interviews we did an interview with Stephanie Ivek at the Lectora user conference among about 7 other people, and she did some of her own. We did a 3-hour stream at one point, and she actually did 2 little mini podcasts on her own. The only mistake I made is I didn't flip the mic towards her because we had left the booth. But it's still, you could still hear it, you could understand it, and she's a blast, and she's young. She's just on it. She's fun.
This was her first major event like this too.
Yeah.
So we were pretty impressed with how it all came out. And we had a serious number of attendees. We had great speakers. We had Laura Overton, who came and did the keynote speech, and really enthusiastic audience. So it was a lot of fun.
It was fun. One of the things I really enjoyed a lot, and really a lot, is getting to meet not only the Trivantis staff, of which we already know quite a few of them, but all the developers were there. I think during the 2 full days of conference, I think every one of them came, at least for half day, full days, and these guys were great. One thing, I interviewed several of them during the show, and one thing I really enjoyed is that I never really realized this. A lot of those guys, especially the seniors who've been there for a long time, they've worked together for literally 20, 25 years.
Yep.
And as I'm talking to Bob Zyback, who's one of the senior developers, I thought to myself, that's a really good selling point. If you think about the value of having a team that understands themselves really well and can bring on other people with a very consistent approach, that's priceless. That's something you don't see very often in e-learning or any other industry. And you know, I mean, some of them are in wheelchairs, and they're all, no, I'm just kidding. They're all pretty youthful. I mean, John Blackman is their leader, if you will. He's the chief technology officer at Trivantis. He's not a very old guy. He's probably 51, 52.
He stopped aging when he was 30.
Yeah, but he did. But you know, he is really like a kid. He's got more energy than most people I know in their 20s and 30s. And he's focused. He knows what he wants. He knows how to get there, and he's a very good developer. Same with Darren Lucan, who was at the show. He's I guess he's the programming manager on the desktop side.
Yes, exactly.
And amazing guy. And, you know, not only are they just good developers, which they really are very good developers, a heck of nice people to hang out with. They were just a lot of fun. And one other thing that I think, you know, this is something I didn't think about either. This is my first Lectora show too, after all these years. That I didn't realize what a value that would be. And they had all these Ask the Experts sessions, and all the developers were in the Trivantis booth, just there answering questions. And people were coming by then, and they were talking to us saying, "Oh, that was really great. We've never been able to really do that on a consistent basis, where we can ask a lot of questions, we can get answers." I talked to quite a few people, at least 30 or 40, who were saying, "This is absolutely amazing that we can talk to developers."
Yeah, I think it was one of the big selling points of the conference, and doing it in Fort Lauderdale was that we could get them all there, and they've got a great chemistry as a group. You're dead on right.
Yeah.
They've taken me out when I've gone and visited that office before, and they're like a bunch of old college friends or something.
That's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah, and so it's at one point one of them turned to me, though. It's funny because I'm not from Florida, and one of them said something like, "Have you ever tried dolphin before?" Have you heard about this?
Yeah, no.
So dolphin is apparently a fish that you eat in
Right.
in Florida.
You don't eat porpoise, you eat dolphin. I think that's what it is.
But when they asked me that, I was horrified because all I could picture in my mind was Flipper.
Flipper, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they seem to think that was funny, and they're just a really great crew, I have to say.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. And you know, here's some back tidbits. I met the great grandson of Morgan the pirate. You know, one of the developers is Renee Morgan.
Yeah.
And Renee Morgan, I think, was originally from Honduras, if I'm not wrong. I think it was Honduras. I may be wrong on this. I think that's where he was from. But he was telling me, because I go, "Renee Morgan," I'm looking at him, go, "You don't look like a Morgan." And he was laughing. He goes, "No, it was a blessing and a curse at the same time when I grew up, because I didn't look like a Morgan." And he said the rumor is, and he's pretty sure, that his great-grandfather was actually the famous Morgan the pirate, which is cool. That was cool. So for the whole show, I'm calling him Morgan el Pirata, which is the pirate in Spanish. And a wonderful guy, great sense of humor. And the guy put together, in less than probably an hour, I don't know how fast he did it, but he put together a whole video of the show. And at the end of the show, when we had the closing, Scott, you did the closing sessions with Jennifer Valley, and it was great. He just had that all set up. It was a really nice video. I think he used iMovie, if I'm not wrong, but it's amazing what you can do with that software. And he had good footage, and it was fun. It got everybody kind of a final motivation before we left the show, and that was pretty cool.
I'm sure he'd be thrilled to hear you guys liked it. And I think it's actually still on the website, on the LUC section,
okay,
if people want to go check it out.
It was nice. I mean, when you look at, and I know how long it took him. That's why I was going, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And he did a nice job. It wasn't sloppy.
No.
So it actually looked very professional and nicely done. And that was good. I got to meet Jennifer Valley for the first time.
Yep.
I've known her. I've interviewed her like 3 times. I've talked to her on the phone. Got to meet her. She's really nice. And it was, you were actually serious at the show.
Well, I was on the hook for doing a good show. You
were focused. I went. Even my wife Leslie, who was with us, she goes, he's working today. He's working hard today. You guys put a great show together.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. People seemed really into the topics. People seemed to be networking a lot. even going into social media after the fact and sort of checking out and seeing what people were talking about, it seemed like people were even continuing the conversation there and in the community. So
that's good. I heard there were many good speakers. People enjoyed the. I was asking people and interviewing some folks on the fly, and they were saying, "No, the conferences have been good." Laura Overton, she was very good.
Yes,
they all came out pretty motivated after her talk, and I didn't get to see her. We were setting up at the time, and we missed her. But I heard she was really good.
She's great. In fact, she did an extended presentation about her benchmark study from 2015, and in that study, she outlined what it is that the top 10% of learning and development organizations do that's different than everybody else. And so if you want to check out what she has to say, her presentation is posted in the community, but we also have her benchmark report is available on her website too.
Okay.
I'll get you a copy.
That sounds good.
But it's really well done, and I mean there are some really key things that top companies are doing that other people just aren't.
Can you think of? Can you name one?
Well, one of them was that came to mind was that people typically have some kind of a dashboard that they've created that maps to business metrics, benchmark metrics, so that people at those companies are defining what it is that are the key metrics that they're trying to move, and often it's a business metric, and then they create a dashboard and they make that something that's available to the executive team and to the entire company in many cases.
Okay. And it's good because too many times e-learning winds up being a check-off kind of training. I took this, I took that, I took this, I took that. And it's mostly compliance and regulatory or some sort of OSHA, something to keep you indemnified.
Yes.
But that's not training.
No.
And it's also not learning usually because people take it begrudgingly. They don't really get a lot out of it usually, but you've checked off. And the companies that do go beyond the checkoffs actually wind up having a more motivated staff. Usually they wind up having, when you look at like HR scorecards or their dashboards, they're more productive. And they have less incidents with lawsuits or other things or injuries. Anything that a company's trying to train and prevent, they have a little bit of a better track record. Well, it's actually a lot better usually in some of those companies. And I know of all the companies we've worked with, I know one in particular that I won't name them, but it's an insurance company that's in Ohio, and they really do a lot of analytics. And I think it makes a big difference. They have less claims, they have faster payouts when there are claims, they have very good adjusters, and they all go through a lot of training. Excellent customer service, and you just go, yeah, that's training well done. You know, they actually care about those little things. If they're going to do compliance training, they try to make it in context with their jobs. Or if you're doing like business ethics, something like that. It's not just to talk about ethics, but how do you give an example that applies to your business? And that's what they do. And it makes all the difference in the world when you have things like that, because all of a sudden you're more productive. And then e-learning or training on the whole becomes a better thing.
It certainly gets elevated because if it's tied to business metrics as opposed to how many people took a class, the sort of checking things off syndrome, and you see business metrics actually moving as a result of doing e-learning, for example, it can change the whole culture of a company around learning and development. So that was a great presentation and there's a lot there. If you haven't had a chance to view it, go check it out on the community. We actually posted a copy of the presentation. You can see a lot of the key statistics there. And we're talking to Laura about potentially coming and doing a webinar where she will recap some of that, plus maybe talk a little bit about the mobile workforce. So
that'd be good. Oh, the mobile workforce, yeah. Yeah, they're not actually working, they're just mobile, that's all. That's a tough one actually for a lot of companies, because where do you draw the line between productivity, mobile workers, and not everybody is a good mobile worker. When they are, they're great. Well, you're a remote worker, for example, but you do travel to a point. But you know, when you find the right people, working remotely is a godsend. We've got almost 10 people working remotely, and they're a godsend. I mean, they are so good at what they do, and that we don't have to really worry about them. They're almost self-managed. I think that's part of the key of a remote workforce. Like, we would never put graphic artists remotely. it's hard to manage them. It's a different mindset, and there's too many places things can go wrong.
Right.
Developers, to a point, can work off-site as long as they know their tools and they're well motivated, if you will, or structured. I think a lot of working remotely is time management, organization. You kind of make believe. Most of the people I know who work remotely all feel like, well, I'm at the office, I'm just not physically at the office. And they take that kind of approach, and then I know some that are complete slackers that work remote, and they don't do too well. And they go, oh no, I don't keep these jobs. Well, it's kind of obvious, but
the people I tend to see who do a lot of remote work tend to be actually overworkers, and it's harder to draw that separation because you're working out of your house many times, and it's the commute is so short. You can easily just pop in to the office and do a little something.
And then you have like maybe 4 people trying to get into the same bathroom. That's like rush hour, right? Teenage girls, now you're dead. I know one guy who had 4 teenage girls. They had 3 bathrooms in the house, and they're all full at all times. And he kept saying, you know, I just go to the back with the dogs. It's easier. So, it's not funny. It's really scary, actually. He actually did go through that. It's like the girls were always in the bathrooms. He goes, they're teenagers, every one of them. Gotta look good for whoever or whatever. So yeah, that makes furniture. We have 1 teenager.
You have 1 teenager?
No, you have 1 teenager.
I was going to say, yes, I do. She's 13 going on 14.
Yeah, that's a good teenager.
In the month, yes, yeah. And she doesn't spend a tremendous amount of time in the bathroom, but she spends a ton of time on her phone.
On the phone,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is the smart program. Your girl is smart. I mean, you were telling us she took a programming class, but was smarter than that. She learned to tell the programmer what to do, and she designed. The kid's brilliant.
Yeah, we put her in a coding class, and we were really excited about the fact that she was coming up with this game idea. And then I found out that what she had done is specialized on her team, and she picked one girl who was really good with the coding, and then my daughter was doing the design and the game creation, concepting, and that sort of thing.
That's cool.
And so she wasn't actually doing the programming herself at all in the programming class.
Yeah, but that's cool. That's fun. I mean, when you think about 13,
yeah,
12, 13, wow. You guys didn't even do, Clark is in the room with us. You didn't do programming when you were 12, 13. Nobody really did that then. No, it's really become that accessible now that even the young generation who are in their 20s are looking kind of prehistoric compared to the 12 and 13-year-olds today who just are born on a computer, basically.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I mean, and kids are starting up businesses on computers too. It's shocking to me, some of the things that kids are doing.
I know. My wife calls them tech babies. They're brought up with tech. Our daughter's like that. You give her anything, she's like, and it's working. It's like, wow. We used to call her button girl when she was growing up. Every button in the house she knew how to the remotes on a TV, no matter how hard they got, she's like, and then the smile got it. How'd you learn that? Just a natural talent. For some odd reason, they can figure things like that out, and you just go, okay. Our daughter has a side business on Etsy now, and she's making money on Etsy. It's just, I know a lot of people on Etsy now. That seems to be where entrepreneurs just go and create a little, especially if they're artistic or like to do crafts.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing how much Etsy's grown.
Yeah.
I think I read somewhere they're a multi-billion-dollar business or something like that.
Some people do their whole livelihood there too.
I know one lady who does that, and she's making like 70, 80 grand a year doing Etsy. She's making pet photographs for people. We're working way too hard.
I should just start out the pet photograph company.
Yeah, really. I mean, it's pretty good. What are some of the things that you enjoyed the most about the Lectora User Conference, being that this was your first too?
Yeah, I think the networking reception was pretty great. We had people from countries as far away as Australia and Malaysia and other places that came, and it's kind of neat when you get that kind of user group together, and you can start to hear common themes across users about things that they're looking for or things that they love about the product, or.
And on the whole, I'd say from what I heard, and I was at the event too, there were some really intelligent comments made by a lot of people, and this wasn't just hangout time. People were they were focused. They were focused on getting something done.
Yeah.
And that was fun watching that level of interest. Again, you don't see that everywhere. There was definitely a sense of, hey, we're here, let's make something out of it. I didn't really, people had a good time, but I noticed that people were also focused on getting things.
Well, there are people who are spending 8 hours a day on Lectora, right?
That's true. That's
true. And they talked about their, so we're actually a part of their life. And when you start to talk to people about, what their experience is and little things that they need that would make them so much more productive, and you put them in contact with developers, which is one of the things we did on the show intentionally, it can, we hope and we believe will produce a significant sort of sea change in the way that the company is moving, because we'll have people who are even more satisfied in their day-to-day life working within the product every day.
And it was sort of fun watching all the developers. They look pretty happy. They enjoyed, I think, the time, and people were not afraid to go up to them.
No.
And you had a lot of, you have your young guys that are the college grads who are working on things. They were sharp. And of course, the older timers, and not by age, they're experienced. And you'd think when you meet a guy who's been doing this for 30 years or 25 years or whatever, they'd be jaded. No, these guys were. That's what I loved. Leslie and I, we both been in the field. We were developers for a long time, 20-something years each, and we've been doing e-learning for about 20 years. So I'm only 36, but we've been doing this for a long time. And when you meet guys like that, who are actually younger, but doing this for a long time and still having that passion, you can tell they're talking about the product at all times. That's what I found hilarious. You can't get it out of them. Hey, you know what we're going to do next? We got this in mind. And Darren was pretty, we're not going to talk about it now because we're under NDA, but he was coming up with some really cool ideas. And you just love that. It's just, to me, that's exciting, and it's fun watching people like that and knowing that even ideas we come up with as a community, as people of the Lectora Advisory Board, they actually pay attention. And that also is a lot of fun, because you can see things that you've kind of mentioned, sometimes in passing, and next thing you know, they fixed it, or they've added it. In fact, I've been hassling John Blackman for a specific fade for a long time, and all of a sudden in the online version that I have a copy of, hey, where'd this show up?
It's there, isn't it?
You just snuck it right in. Like, wanted to see if I was paying attention, I think, but noticed it right away. It's like, that was pretty cool, and that means it'll show up in desktop or vice versa. Because there's two development teams.
Yes.
So they're coordinated, and people at the show learned how those things are coordinated. And in essence, they sometimes leapfrog each other a little bit, but it's coming closer and closer to things being released exactly at the same time. And they're working really hard on that, which again makes for good development. And I like that. There's also certain competition with the teams, which is more fun.
Yeah.
Because they want to do good. They want to do better at what they're doing and see which one can come up with it first. And they're not duplicating efforts. They just have to implement it in the code base a little bit differently. But I think things like that, it's good competition for them. It keeps them sharp, and it makes them focus well. So all of those things were good.
We also looked at, we announced Branch Track and the integration with Branch Track at the show too.
I thought it was integrated already.
Well, no, but as part of the Inspire product, we're going to be giving away.
Oh, okay. Nice.
A limited license of Branch Track.
Go, Sergey.
And that will be in a future version of Inspire later this year.
Nice. Okay.
But we got a chance to talk with people a little bit about that, and there was a lot of great feedback about that from the audience who loves that functionality and loves that product.
And it's fairly easy to use. And people seem to like it. We've helped sell, I think we only sold one, but it was a fairly large license for them. And it's nice. It's not hard to use. And if you're doing any kind of branching simulations, it's easy. Or scenarios. It's fairly quick. You can do those sometimes in hours, depending on what you're doing. And of course, like Sergey always says, if you're doing a micro learning approach, keep smaller scenarios and just put more of them in there. And it does integrate easily in Lectora. It's really easy to control variables from within Lectora. So all of that makes it easy if you need to get to that level. So, that's good. Well, good for him.
So those are some of the key things. And then we're talking now about next year. I can't reveal where, but soon I will, like in the next 3 weeks.
That sounds good.
We'll put out the word.
Yeah, I'll tell you, they put on a good show. I would say, as somebody who had a table there or a booth and presented, and also just knowing you guys really do a nice job.
Thank you.
In every which way. Everybody felt, let's say the word loved. You felt cared for, and that's nice. You don't get that at a lot of shows. We've been in many, many, many shows, and you just don't feel special usually. You're just there. You're a number. They did not make you feel like a number in any which way. And it was funny because there were about 3 or 4 sick people there. And these were all pretty high up people who do a lot of work. Lori Lynn was sick. She walked right by us and she goes, "Hi!" And she was just, I go, "You're sick." "I'm sick, but I'm okay right now." Again, just like John, that bubbly energy of just, they go. And it was really, really fun to see her. And we have something in common. We're always talking dogs. It's just bad. You get dog people together, it's just about dogs. But it was fun seeing her. We only saw her once, maybe twice. I think we saw her in passing one other time. But she was busy. She was really busy and doing all sorts of stuff and board meetings and everything else. It was fun seeing her again, though, at the show. And, of course, seeing you and Daryl. I saw Daryl once. Daryl Fleer is the product manager. He's for the overall product manager on Lectora, right?
Yeah, I think he does Lectora online and desktop.
And desktop. And Daryl was sick. I didn't even know it. He looked like Daryl, like himself. And he had just gotten married, so congratulations again, Daryl. And it's always good to see the guys there and all the folks there. I think I saw Jennifer Johnson, but it was so quick. I didn't have a chance to even talk to her. We said hi, and she was doing something else. I think she was in the middle of setting something up. But so there were a lot of people that were there. And we noticed that a lot of the people who did show up had questions for the salespeople, for the developers. There was a lot of interaction.
Yeah.
I got to meet some of the folks who've been there for a while, like your sales guy. And his name just slipped out of my mind.
Bob Bathalter?
Was it Bob?
Potentially.
He's the guy who does the international sales.
Scott Sloan.
Scott Sloan.
Okay.
Loved him. He was great. He was great. He can sell anything to anybody.
Oh, he can.
He can. But he's totally charming.
He is a very charming guy.
Yeah, we met him at breakfast, except he was in the table behind us. We didn't know who he was, but we started giggling when we heard him because she came by and said, "Can I help you?" And he says, "A vat of coffee." And we just kind of giggled. There's a guy who wants a vat of coffee. And we turned around and he goes, "Hey, I know you." I go, "You do?" He goes, "Yeah, Riggs and I saw the show." I go, "Oh, Scott's on." And then we started talking, and hell of a nice guy.
Yeah, he's a really great guy.
Really nice guy, and he talks about the sales he's made and stuff. He's been all over the world. He's amazing. And it looks like he really enjoys what he does. He's been there for a long time, right?
I don't know how many years, but
seems like a long time.
He's got a history from PepsiCo and Maybelline to our products, and he's been in the international sales and driving some of our larger deals.
Yeah, and international sales is tough because you have to understand the cultures, the negotiation, and he does. Mm-hmm. He was talking. He does a lot of work in Asia, and he knows how to work in the Asian market. I could tell. I've been around Asians most of my life, and he understands the culture very, very well, which makes for darn good salespeople. And he's not really a salesperson, but he's more of a deal maker. He's the kind of guy that does those long-term relationship things. And it was nice. I really enjoyed meeting him among quite a few others, too. It was altogether, I'd say, a great conference. The hotel was pretty nice. The conference area I thought was good.
Yeah, it was.
It was comfortable. And it was big enough. Actually, it was misleadingly big because I didn't realize until I had to give my talk that you had to go all the way to the back and the around. I thought it was just those 4 rooms in front.
Yes.
No, there were a whole mess of other rooms way in the back, and they had nice layouts. I think everything was pretty good. I was complaining about our projector, thinking that's what screwed our presentation over. No, we had a problem with our presentation. We couldn't show any of our videos.
Oh.
It wouldn't do it. It was a dumber reason than that. It was our fault. It was a new laptop. We hadn't initialized Windows Media Player. And PowerPoint needs Windows Media Player in the back end, but it didn't give us an error message. Didn't tell you anything. It just said doesn't work.
Because it wasn't installed.
It would play it, but you couldn't see it.
Oh, okay.
And we're going, what is going on? Never had that happen before. And we thought they had an older projector in the room we were in. I was going, maybe it's the projector. It can't handle it. So I did little pictures. We got it going anyway, but it was us. It wasn't the crew there. It was like, Windows Media Player. If you ever get a new laptop nowadays, install Windows Media Player. Because they don't do it automatically for you like they used to. It's a little gotcha. These are not cheap laptops, so it's so live and learn. That was a new one for us.
We had a lot of other folks that came into presentations too. The Swedish Defense Force was there. Did you see their presentation?
I didn't see it. No.
Okay. They did a presentation that was pretty popular, and they talked about, because they're doing learning about things that can mean your life or death in a cold weather situation.
That's true.
They're doing some pretty impactful things, and they got a lot of social media sort of love for the presentation that they did.
Interesting. Yeah, cognac bottle, open in case of emergency. Isn't that the Swiss do?
I don't know who does that, but I would be on their side.
The Swiss dogs, the Saint Bernards carried a little bottle of
brandy.
It was brandy. Okay, I was thinking of cognac. It was brandy, I think.
Yeah.
And that could actually help when you're freezing. So, they know their stuff. I was reading the other day that Switzerland is actually the richest country in Europe. They're not part of the EU, never have been, won't be, and they are just a model of amazing free enterprise done right. They're amazing. Just an aside, but when you see something like that, they have no debt, they're rich, they have some of the biggest companies in the world like Nestle, among others. They have a ton of large companies, and they elect officials to basically streamline the process and get out. That's it.
Wow.
I was going, that's enlightened.
That's nice.
So anyway, I'd never heard about that. It was a really fascinating documentary on and they have a very intelligent workforce, and they're very motivated. It's fascinating. I guess it's cold. You have nothing better to do up there. Just you work. But
and make great chocolate.
Make great chocolate, yeah. What is it? Nestle's makes the very best chocolate. Yeah, that's the old jingle. So any new ideas for the next Lectora show?
I think that we'll do something that is similar to what we've done in the past, but what I would say is that we're giving some thought to, in particular, to what kinds of speakers people want to hear from. And so if you've got ideas and you want to pass them to us, feel free to reach out to us on the community, for example. We're going to probably make the community a bigger part of the next show too.
Okay.
We had the community, I think, pretty well tied in, but not everybody, for example, who's at the show has ever logged into the community.
Right.
And so we'd really like to have the learning and the growth continue past the show into the community and be a place where people can extend the relationship and the conversation.
I got 2 badges.
Yeah, I did too.
I was going, cool. We attended and we presented. That was fun.
Yeah. We've been giving away a lot of badges and getting a lot of great feedback from people who like getting that, coming in. And I think next up for us on the community is going to be focusing on a job board. So
that's a good idea.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
So that's coming up soon, and we announced that. I think we announced that at the show, but second half of this year, you guys will be seeing that. So we're pretty excited about it.
That's a good resource, because where do you find a Lectora developer? You have to specifically a Lectora developer. You can go to job boards, but you may or may not find that specific category because people don't put them up in those specific. Most of the developers I've ever known either do it through word of mouth, or they just market a lot. But also, a lot of people don't know where to post their ads because they don't know what they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a specific place, if you're a Lectora developer, or you're a company that uses Lectora and you need a developer, that would be a great place, because now you're reaching specific people who work on the product.
Yeah.
And then filter out the recruiters who will drive you crazy.
Special spam recruiter
They
button.
get everywhere. I don't know how they do it. It's just, and they're good at it. It's just like they'll always go, "Hi, I was responding to the Lectora ad." Yes, we have a couple of Lectora developers. We can. Oh gosh, they're very good at that. Or they'll call and tell you, "I'm part of the. I'm with your bank." You are. Funny, I don't bank there. So, anyway, well, this is fun. I know you guys are going to do a great job next time. And you've
Thank
got
you.
the Queen of all things, who's now even a more experienced queen. So
Yes.
she will even do a better job. And you should have seen her the day before. I was there the night before. She was sitting out there waiting for somebody to deliver some boxes, and she wouldn't let it go. It's like, so we finally put boxes in for her. We moved things and helped her out. And she's like, I want my boxes. But you know, that's caring. So that's good. Her and, we met Sherry White? Not Sherry, Gina White.
Gina White, yes.
I love Gina.
She
She was awesome. She is their director of training. A beautiful personality. She's a beautiful person. I mean, she was great. I interviewed her a little bit at the shop. We want to get her. We've already communicated with her, trying to get her back on for a little more detailed, in-depth interview. She's really nice. She's a good representative for training and stuff.
Yeah, she's been doing our on-site training for some time, and
Yeah.
she's busier than ever these
Yeah,
days.
that's great. That's
Yeah.
good. Is she in Minnesota?
I don't know where she's based.
I want to say she said Minnesota, but I may be in the wrong state. She used to live in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
Because we told her that first night we found a rrestaurant. She goes, "That's one of the best in town. I love that place." It was an Italian kind of semi-dive, but they had good food. It was incredible good food, actually. Spazio's.
Spazios.
If
Okay.
you're ever in Fort Lauderdale, Spazio's, good place. That's what motivated us to get that new espresso machine we just got.
Really?
Yeah, they had the best Julius Meinl Austrian espresso. Never heard of Julius Meinl. And so we got on Amazon, bought a couple of bags of Julius Meinl, bought a new machine, and now we get freshly ground beans and an espresso all in one fell swoop. It does it all. It's kind of cool.
We'll have to try that out after the show.
Yeah, it's fun. Well, anyway, I thought you guys did a great job.
Thank
It
you.
really was a lot of fun. I don't think you guys held any stops back. It was really well. One thing people were complimenting, they loved. I was watching it. They loved, because they were right in front of our booth, all of the snacks you guys put out there. those afternoon and mid-morning things. They were raving about the coffee, the all the little pastries and snacks and everything.
The ice cream bar was popular.
The ice cream bar was really popular. Yeah.
Yeah.
So even though people think those are small things, they're not. That gets people motivated. Food. Yes. Food gets everybody motivated. Well, again, I'm really glad you could come on with us and
Thank
join
you.
us. And I think we're going to do lunch in a couple minutes. We do lunch in California. We don't have lunch. We do lunch. His agent talks to my agent, and we do lunch. It's the way it works. We're not even members of the union in SAG, but no, we do lunch. We'll see you next week. We've got other guests lined up already, and in fact, Sergey is going to be on pretty soon again, talking about some of the things going on with his life and with Lectora and everything else. He's still very active in the community. So I think he's still number one. I don't know if anybody's beat him yet.
If he's not number one, I don't
He's
know.
awfully
who is.
close.
Yeah.
He's awfully close. So anyway, we will see you next week on Lectora Live. Have a great one. Have a good 4th of July weekend. We're actually filming this on July 1st. Yeah, July 1st today. The year is half over. Don't miss it. Have a good one. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.